welcome back to my channel. I'm Stephanie, the designer and the co-founder of KESTAN. Today I have a super fun video to share with everyone, and that is a peek into my design process. More than just showing you how I'm gonna sketch, I'm actually going to be talking through my every thought that went into designing the Parkdale dress. The Parkdale is something that we are kind of known for. It's something I cut during my first fall winter season, and then once a year I re-update it in new fabrics and new silhouettes. Why? Because it is a classic. With the Parkdale, I wanted to design something that will last you season after season, that was comfortable, feminine, fresh, but also very eye-catching and super strong in silhouette. So let's get started. All right, so I have my iPad today, and I also have my iPencil. I think it's called an iPencil. It just says pencil on here. Either way, I have my electronic pencil and my iPad. Now, I like to use a lot of different mediums when I'm sketching, but for the sake of today's video, I'm going to be using my iPad. And what I'm gonna do first is I'm going to start with a croquis. A croquis is basically a super bougie way of saying fashion figure. But you know, us fashion folks, we're kind of known for being a little bit extra. So croquis it is. Don't ask me how to spell it. I only know how to draw it. So what I do is I like to lay down my base figure first. And this is a really great way for me to put my clothes on top of it. It's nice for me to have a body to look at. So I kind of know how everything falls, how everything's gonna look. So let's put her legs in and then do her little calves. Everyone has their own style when they're drawing croquis. I've been drawing for a very long time now, so I just like to freehand. It's a little bit faster for me this way. Some people, they like to use stencils, and that's perfectly fine. All that matters is that you find a way that is easiest for you to express yourself. So I'm going to add in her arms, and then I'm going to put them down. And then actually, I just saw that she's a little bit crooked. So I actually, have this issue when I'm drawing sometimes, is that I like to kind of like lean my figures, and it happens by accident. And all it goes to show is that, at the end of the day, no matter how long you've been working, there's stuff happens, and that's the beauty of drawing, is that you can fix it. So let me make her a little bit straighter, give her some feet. Perfect, so I have my figure basically done. And then now I'm going to go on top and start laying on my clothing elements. So this is the fun part. This is where you really get to start designing. So I'm zooming in a little bit because I am not old, but I am getting old. And sometimes these eyes have issues seeing details. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit and I'm gonna get started. With the Parkdale, my jumping off point when I was designing was actually men's shirting. I love taking design elements from both menswear and women's wear and combining them. I think that, design and fashion is so open-ended these days. There's no hard and fast rules anymore. So I'm gonna start by adding my collar, then I'm gonna add some sleeves, and the Parkdale is actually belted. So I'm gonna add a little belt in the middle, draw these little loops, they look like little bunny ears, and draw her ties. The reason why I put the belt in first is because it gives me a really great indication to where the fabric will gather. Our Parkdale is made from our super popular Japanese bamboo. It's a fabric with a really great weight, and it's really drapey, which is super nice. So you put the belt in because fabric will actually naturally kind of bubble and gather where it's tied. So it's good for me to know where that is. And then I'm gonna add in these little squiggles to show where that fabric is. Next, I'm going to be adding her skirt. So it's just a straight skirt that looks like that. Comes down, I'm gonna turn it, make it straight, perfect. Next, I'm gonna add the sleeves. Now, with the sleeves, I decided to add a little cuff to them. I love the way that cuffs look, both in hems of pants and also in sleeves. I think it's a nice way to kind of add some structure to it. Adds a little bit of oomph to your sleeve, so it's not just a straight hem. It's got a little bit of a fold. It adds some texture and dimension, and it can be super fun. For this specific dress, I also added tabs. Tabs are a really great way because it holds up the cuff, so you don't get this kind of awkward, sad drooping thing that happens sometimes when you roll up your sleeves. It keeps the cuff rolled up so that the sleeves don't have to worry about it, stays out of your way. We did our buttons in like a really soft kind of gel looking plastic, so it's a little bit more feminine. So that's another example of where I like to meet this masculine and feminine world and then make it into a garment that is very strong but very soft too. I wonder how that works out. All right, so we have our sleeves and we have our general garment done. Next, I'm going to be adding in our button stand. So this is where I am a dirty, rotten cheater, and I'm gonna be using a ruler app. So I'm just going to make sure that it lines up. You know, I should probably make my fingers straight. That might make it a little bit easier for me. And then get that in perfect. And then I am just going to draw a straight line. There we go. So this is my button stand. Now after doing this, you can kind of see that the skirt's not super straight. Once again, that's totally fine. That's why eraser tools exist. So I'm just gonna go in and then fix that so it looks a little bit more symmetrical. Perfect, and I have a little button on the top. Now with button stands, if you shop with us, you'll notice that about 75% of my garments, they're hidden button stands, and that's totally intentional. The reason why I do that is because I think it's a little bit more feminine to cover up the buttons. It makes it look a little bit less like suiting, and it's a nice update on a functional part of a garment that is a little bit more design oriented. It gives you a cleaner silhouette, it's a little bit less distracting, so I hide my buttons. So that is going down the front. And then next, I'm gonna add some pockets on the front. There you go. So they're just little squares. They have little flaps. And then these are actually box pleats. Why do I use box pleats? Very simply, it's a functional thing. It gives more volume and more room in your pockets. And I do that because one of my biggest pet peeves as not only a designer, but as a woman, is pockets that don't fit anything in them. I guarantee if you buy anything from KESTAN, you can fit at least a fist inside of your pocket. Because nothing is worse than getting a pair of pants, pockets like this big, you put like a chapstick in there and like half the cap is sticking out of your pants, and you're like, why even bother? It's almost insulting how small the pockets are. So these pockets are meant to fit your phone, I don't know, your wallet, ID card, your Nintendo, whatever it is that you carry around with you all day, these pockets will fit them. So they have the little pleats. I'm just gonna go on top and add little top stitching marks. It's the way that the pockets kind of are attached to the bodice. So there we go. We have the little pockets. Now for the hem. I actually put little slits in the side of the hem. I am someone who walks around a lot, and even if you work in an office and you sit all day, it's super uncomfortable sometimes when your dresses and the fabric is like really tight at the hips and you're just, at this point you're like, why am I even wearing a dress? So I put little slits in them because then it opens up on the side, it gives you a little bit more room so you don't have to like do that weird kind of awkward side to side shifting dance when you're at the desk. And it makes it super comfortable when you're like walking around. So to indicate that, I just have a little slash on the top and then I bring the hem down, the little stitching marks down the hem. Next, I'm going to continue adding some more details. So collars, they have little stitch marks. I'm just gonna throw those in real quick. Tops of the sleeves. And these little stitching marks, there's a reason for them. They kind of indicate how the garment is made, the details. And they also kind of add some more dimension to your drawing. It's what brings it to the next level between someone who's just kind of starting out versus a professional sketch. So we have our little stitch marks. Button stands also have little stitchings on them. So I'm just gonna lightly draw those in. There's really no need to be like perfect about these. It's more about the idea, which I find is a philosophy that serves me really well in life sometimes. It's not about being perfect, it's about the idea. So there we go. Once I'm done with the final garment and all of the details, then I go in and then I add details on the figure. So I'm gonna give her a cute little haircut, give her some lips. I'm gonna draw the arms. And then you'll notice that while I'm tracing over my croquis, that I don't necessarily actually draw over the pencil lines perfectly. And that just totally feeds into my philosophy that like, it's not about being perfect. All that matters is that you're able to articulate your thoughts and express yourself in a way that makes sense. And sometimes in life, things don't always go according to plan, and that is something that is perfectly okay. All right, I didn't mean to make this whole video into like a philosophical discussion on perfection, but I guess that's just how my brain works sometimes. All right, so we have her little feet. Okay, for little shoes, little toes. And then I'm going to take away the pencils. And that is our Parkdale. So I'm gonna go and color this in, and I will come back and we will talk about the final picture. There we go, I have finished my sketch. This is what the sketch looks like, and this is the final product. I hope you got to learn a little bit about my process, take a peek at my drawing, and have some fun with me. Make sure you subscribe, leave a comment down below, give me a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys during my next video.